lagging, obviously. Back to what I was saying, obviously. Like I said, for my first video, obviously. So take this with a grain of salt. Take this with a grain of salt. Sony doesn't have the first parties. First party roadmap is dry. But also, Microsoft might shell drop those games on as far as the Call of Duties. Might shell drop those Call of Duties in the Game Pass on. Might shell drop, and I'm almost certain. So bucket, because they shell drop all those Call of Duties. The new ones, the most recent one on cloud gaming, and the Capcom games as well. They're coming out next year. The Capcom games, including the ones that were already most recently. That is an absolute right for Sony. So book what I said. Book what I said. Take that with a grain of salt. Take that with a grain of salt right now. But anyways. Because Sony continues to make all these remakes and reboots, and that's all the money they have to make, pretty much remakes and reboots. And they're going to say, fanboy, I know too much, I know too much, well, I guess I said, well, you need to call Sony right now. You can't call Microsoft right now, because Microsoft already has all the first parties and second parties, and they took the main first parties away, damn out there as well. They took all the main first parties away. And they brought out Bethesda, too. They split 50-50 with Bethesda. And they might shell drop those games on Game Pass, or they might shell drop, if I know about that word, shell drop. But anyways, it's not looking good for Sony right now. Without those first parties, Sony's in deep, they're a dumpster fire, man. I tell you, it's sad for Sony, it's so sad for Sony. Nobody wants to talk about this right now. It's not looking good. I've been calling out Sony most of last year, all this year, most of last year. Even on my old YouTube account when I was making my videos, I was in my new YouTube account when I was able to transfer my shorts, obviously, to that account, obviously. But yeah, it's not looking good for Sony, guys. It's not looking good for Sony. Sony's in deep, they're a dumpster fire, man. It's like they don't know what they're doing. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good for Sony right now. Seriously. This could be the end of Sony as we know it. Could be the end of the console war as we know it. Cause after seeing that showcase, I ruined it. And I rule it all day, and I ruin it all day. And while those first parties, and Jim Ryan's gone, Herman Hulst is taking on a hot seat right now. The agency that he's working, both CEOs for Sony, Herman Hulst and the agency that he's working with, they're on the hot seat. It's not looking good for Sony right now. Not looking good for Sony right now. Sony is a disaster. Absolute turmoil. Seriously. It's not looking good for Sony, guys. Sony could be out of the console industry as we know it. And everybody's been telling you, including my reliable sources have been telling you when they've been making their videos, to count myself too as well. All my reliable sources, even count myself, been telling you that this could be done to Sony as we know it. It's not looking good for Sony right now. But anyways. This could be done to Sony as we know it. So like I said, while those first parties and Sony's state of play is lacking right now. It's not looking good for Sony, guys. It's not looking good for Sony. I'm serious, man. This is an absolute disaster. No first parties. The state of plays have been lacking. They've been showing second party and third party games. They've been canceling their games. Some of their games, most of them. They uh um they Then had all these layoffs. Nobody's talking about that. I know if they were talking about Microsoft layoffs, Sony would bash it. Sony would bash it. And that's not fair. Because unfortunately, people lose their jobs, you know? So, yeah. Anyways, all those first parties, Sony's in trouble. And I've been telling you all, I've been telling everybody that has their PS4 and PS5, both of them, or the PS3, so all three, in their current Xbox current. Sony is in serious trouble. They're in deep, they're a dumpster fire, man. They don't know what they're doing. It's not looking good for Sony. It's not looking good for Sony right now.
Your quarterback news, Justin Herbert.
Like I said, guys, this is not looking good for Sony. Sony's an absolute dumpster fire, man. They don't know what they're doing. They port most of the games to PC. They're it's like, what is Sony? What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? Indeed, man. Indeed, man.
Against the Chiefs. Tua Tagovailoa reportedly feels fine and wants to play again this season. Haven't seen anything.
Anyways, like I said, it's not looking good for Sony right now, guys. It's just, I mean, Sony's a dumpster fire. They're dealing with too much turmoil right now. It's not looking good for Sony right now. It's not fair what Sony is doing. Their roadmap is dry. They're splitting the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 3, into three parts. All the PS5 Pros, the PS5 Pro comes on November 7th. All the 30th anniversary edition is gone. And by the time the PS5 Pro comes out, standard discless in this console and discless console comes out, that's going to be sold out. And that's not going to go down price wise anytime soon unless it becomes a year old as November 7th, 2025. But anyways, and then that price finally goes down after that. So like I said, guys, I'm done with Sony. Like I said, this is not fair what Sony is doing. They have not impressed me with any games that's coming out this year, other than the ones I told you about in my first video earlier today. It's not looking good for Sony right now, guys. Sony is a dumpster fire. They don't know what they're doing right now. They're porting the games to PC. They have all these layoffs, but nobody wants to talk about this. I've been on this with calling out Sony since even on my old YouTube account, even with the copyright strikes, the two copyright strikes I got on them, and the other one for the age 13 guideline strike. But anyways, in my current YouTube account, my new main one, and my us and then Raise Power 8. Obviously, previous name was Cyber, but I changed it obviously. Raise Power 8. I had that for almost a whole month now. That name obviously that I changed currently from Egyptian Queen 2 to Royal Hut 6 currently. And I had that for almost a whole month now. All three of my YouTube names now. That's my first Sunny Forever. I had those names for YouTube names for almost a whole month now, going on 2 months now. But anyways. Like I said, Sony is a dumpster fire. So it's in turmoil. This is the worst they've been for the console industry ever in the history of Sony. Ever. It's not looking good for Sony right now. It's not looking good for Sony right now, indeed, man. Sony's in turmoil. Bungie's in shambles. Marathon's in shambles. Even when Hermo's buying out Bungie's going to be in more shambles even when Destiny 3 comes out because we don't know if they're going to make that a free-to-play or not. They're probably going to charge about $70 for that game, and knowing Destiny 2 was originally priced at first, but then they made it free to play after Destiny 1 still priced. Destiny 1 still priced, man. I hope they make Destiny 3 Destiny 3 Trinity play on free to play because if they don't, well, I'm probably not going to play Destiny on because they priced the Part 3 game, Trinity play for a game that was supposed to be free, and that wasn't fair to Sony either. That wasn't fair to Sony either. But anyways, Sony's an absolute dumpster fire right now. Wouldn't be shocked to make a documentary the four straight documentary talking about the console wars and how Microsoft is re-rosing from its ashes pretty much, and then Sony is going down a cliff, ice cold right now, like a freaking avalanche right now, indeed, man. Sony's going to relay. I would not be surprised if they make another documentary. If they do make a documentary talking about that, I'm definitely watching it. Watch that documentary because they do make that documentary. They made 3 documentaries talking about the Clone Wars. They made 3 documentaries and they make this 4th. Watch this one. Watch it. It will really intrigue you why Sony is falling off a cliff like Sony has fallen off a cliff like an avalanche. While Microsoft is re-rosing from its ashes. Ashes, literally. But anyways, like I said, no first parties for Sony right now. That which is dry right now. First parties are dry right now. They're charging too much for the game. The game's gonna be almost $100 now. Eventually, for some of the new games that are coming out, and that's too much for anybody to get the game physically or digitally. Obviously, that's gonna be too much. A lot of people are gonna be saying, "Why are they charging $100 for a game?" Because of inflation in an era of recession. But anyways, like I said, it's not looking good for Sony, guys. Sony's not gonna be able to recover anytime soon. They're falling off a cliff like an avalanche right now. Microsoft's re-rosing from its ashes, literally. It's not looking good for Sony, guys. Sony is in absolute trouble, and I mean trouble beyond trouble. Like a fire is all over that house, and it's burning that house entirely. That's how bad Sony's in trouble right now. They're burning in hell right now. And it's not looking good for Sony right now. This is an absolute disaster. There's no first parties. The roadmap is dry. They're going to be charging $100 for games, which is ridiculous. They're going to be charging probably more for the PlayStation Plus. They're probably going to charge more for PlayStation Plus. They're probably going to charge more for PlayStation Plus Essential. They're going to keep inflating these prices until a lot of people get tired and say, "F, and I don't need the membership." Or a lot of people are going to say, "F, I don't need the membership. I just get it for a lesser price one still." Because usually when they have the days of play in Black Friday sale, while the membership price is low. But anyways, like I said, Sony doesn't have the first parties, and without those first parties, Sony's house right now, if you know about their building, is burning like hell right now. While Microsoft roses from its ashes, while Sony is falling off a cliff like an avalanche right now. It's not looking good for Sony, guys. All these layoffs from Sony, all these reboots, all these remakes, no type of IPs coming out, no type of roadmap, and then Microsoft shadow dropping potential Call of Duty on cloud gaming in the console. All the Call of Duties are out there as of now, or most recently they said it was already Game Pass Ultimate. Those Call of Duties were already Game Pass Ultimate exclusive. But anyways, it's not looking good for Sony, guys. It's not looking good for Sony. Sony is a disaster. This is the worst they've ever been as far as the console war is concerned. No first parties, no reboots. I mean, no, all these reboots. I didn't mean to say no reboots. I'm going to say all these reboots, all these remakes. Yeah. Let's be right back. Alright, guys, I'm back. I just had to watch the garage because my cousin went to work, obviously. So like I was saying, honestly, Sony's in trouble. Sony's a dumpster fire. Sony's falling off a cliff like an avalanche right now. Not looking good for Sony right now. This could be the end of Sony as we know it. Worst console generation ever in the history of the console wars. Wouldn't be surprised if they make a documentary talking about this. Their fourth documentary, but that one will define the end game for the console wars for that documentary. So you see that documentary, watch it, because then you'll be like, anybody that's watched the documentaries, y'all gonna be like, damn, he, this boy kind of really ruined the console, ruined it and rolled it all day, all day. Y'all gonna be like, damn, he really wrecked this. You know, the monitor said, this is not fair. And I said, yeah, it is, bub. Yeah, it is, bub. Because while those first parties, like I said, Sony is going to suffer. Their building's burning like hell right now. Herman Hulk's taking some serious heat right now. He's on the hot seat, I'm sorry to say. And knowing he's only had that job for a couple months now, he might be gone. And he was supposed to retire as a CFO, obviously. He was supposed to be retiring, obviously, but that didn't happen. Because they hired him to by the time he was trying to retire as CFO, pretty much, they hired him as the CEO, pretty much. But anyways, it's looking good for Sony right now, guys. This is a dumpster fire. Sony was in absolute turmoil. They're going to be charging over $100 for games. It's going to be ridiculous right now, price-wise. Inflation's going to continue to hike up a lot of games, including the games you obviously want to play at the final nostalgia, pretty much. Also, found out some good news. They're making another Batman game, two of them. One's going to be the remake, and the other one's going to be a new Batman game years later. And I also found out they're making a Batgirl Arkham Origins game soon enough. They didn't say nothing about that one yet, but I found out they're making 3 Batman games. Rocksteady's making 3 Batman. One's going to be the remake, the other one's going to be years later, and the other one's going to defy Batgirl of me. I was in nostalgia pretty much. Years later, Arkham Origins years later. Anyways. Like I said, guys, this could be the end of Sony as we know it. Sony's an absolute dumpster fire. Their console industry is falling off a cliff like an avalanche, like I said, falling off an avalanche, like I said, while Microsoft's re-rising from its ashes right now. It's not looking good for Sony, guys. This is a disaster. I know the amount of saying, fanboy, I said, well, you need to call Sony right now because Sony could be out of the console industry if they're not careful. They're bankrupt. No money, no IPs, no first parties. All second parties and third parties and virtuals and indies. And shoot 'em ups and beat 'em ups. And the shoot 'em ups. And fighting games and sport games and the common sport games and everything else, putting 10 files the studios and the RPGs and third persons and what have you, etc. So you need to call them out right now, man. Because this is not fair what Sony is doing right now. It's not looking good for Sony right now. Absolute disaster right now. This is not fair right now. Indeed, man. This is not looking good for Sony. Sony could be out of the console industry if they're not careful. And Sony, how can I say, Sony's on thin ice right now. On the verge of it, so much thin ice, that ice is about to crack. That's how bad Sony is doing right now. No joke. And without those first parties, and the roadmap being dry, other than the combat sport, fighting games, the sport games, the wrestling games, Borderlands, the usual, the baseball game, the Madden games, the college football game as well, counting next year's college football games on NBA 2K26 and etc. Sony's in serious trouble. And not only that, they're in the negative right now because they can't even make no double A's, they can't even make no triple A's. They only have the money to make double A's, triple A's, or quadruple A's. Sony could be done. They could be cooked, man. That's what. And by then, that OG PS5, that could be less than $100 by the time it gets to year 5 or 6. That's gonna be $100 or less. That console's already 6 years old now. And a lot of people are gonna upgrade the PS5 Pro, but that PS5 Pro is discless. And I told my cousin that when he was playing yesterday, that one was discless. They're gonna have a disc version for that one eventually. The other one, the current one's discless, but the other one's gonna be disc. The 30th anniversary though, as far as their consoles, it's already sold out. Damn scalpers. That one is discless. They're also going to have a disc one for that 30th anniversary later on, obviously. And I saw the price for the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 is $350. Kick rocks, kick rocks. And then the dual sets for the PS5 for the 30th anniversary edition. That's almost $200 now, over $200 now. And that console, so you add up the DualSense for that 30th anniversary, the person you spent over $1,100 on that discless PS5 for the 30th anniversary edition. You spent over not including the membership, and that's not including with taxes and the membership too, pun intended. You spent almost $1,200 on excuse me, I burned on that console pretty much. $1,200. Not including no disk drive with the obviously diskless. You spent a lot, including the controller, that's $200+, and then the PlayStation 4, that's $350. So yeah, that's almost $1,300 that you spent on that console, on a diskless console for the 30th anniversary edition for PS5 Pro. That's almost $2,000 you just spent. That is ridiculous. Not looking good for Sony right now. Not looking good for Sony right now, guys. Sony is a dumpster right now. They're falling off the cliff like an avalanche right now. While Microsoft's rising from its ashes now. And woke now, if I know about this too, woke now. But anyways, Sony's in trouble. I'm better off getting a handheld, the Nintendo Switch, which would make sense on Xbox One or both consoles if as long as the price is low. But anyways, something good for Sony, guys. Something good for Sony, guys. Sony is falling off a cliff like an avalanche. It's like their building is burning in hell right now, which it is. Sony's an absolute disaster. They don't know what they're doing right now. Porting their games to PC, they're canceling these games. They had all these layoffs. Microsoft had some layoffs, but not as many as you think. And they were all honest layoffs because people were not probably following up versus or not paying attention to what they're doing as far as their job is concerned. But that's another story for another time. But anyways, Microsoft still rose from his woken from its ashes and is woken alive now. But anyways, Sony needs to be called right now. We need to talk to Cousin Ken about these consoles. We do need to call out Sony right now. I have all the sources to talk about why Sony is failing this year. And failed last year too, pun intended, as well. Sony's in deep man. Their building's falling off an avalanche right now. It's on thin ice on the verge of cracking right now. Falling off an avalanche right now. Microsoft's re-rose from its ashes. And I want to hear any fanboys like Xbox Gaming, Dreamcast guy, or Reforce Gaming said Microsoft don't got no games. Microsoft don't got no games, and also saying Microsoft don't have the first parties. They only got called in. That's it. And you know you on Xbox Gaming, you know you on Reforce Gaming, you know you on Dreamcast guy because they got all the first parties. Microsoft has all the first parties. Couldn't the one they honestly took from you. So shut it, Dreamcast guy. Shut it, Xbox Gaming. Shut it, Reforce Gaming. The three fanboys I know. Them three fanboys make me sick right now. Especially Xbox Gaming, especially Reforce Gaming, especially Dreamcast, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They got all the first one. They took the main first parts away from Sony, and now they're about to take over Square Enix. Now they're about to take over Square Enix. And they're about to take over Capcom is concerned. And Microsoft takes over that, and they shut out those games on Game Pass, even on cloud gaming and on the console. That is a wrap for Sony right there. Sony is done. If all those Call of Duty shut up on cloud gaming right now, like shell drop all the Call of Duty games, shell drop all the Capcom games, shell drop every Square Enix game on Game Pass, including on the cloud gaming on Fire TV, that is an absolute wrap for Sony right there. Sony is done. And Sony will be in a more unfortunate position because they lost their exclusivity deal to Microsoft for Square Enix because Square Enix squashed that crap and put all their Final Fantasies everywhere now, including on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 once that comes out in March as well. So Sony is done if that happens. If they shall drop those Call of Duty on cloud gaming and the console and shall drop those Bethesda games and those Call of Duty games and Capcom, including the games that John was playing, including Street Fighter, that is it for Sony. Sony is done. If you see those games especially on your Fire TVs, especially those Call of Duty games, especially the Capcom games that are coming out next year once they pull in the Game Pass offering. Then all those are going to be exclusive. The Call of Duties and the Capcom will be exclusive. So my cousin can't even debate this no more now. We had to talk about it soon, obviously. But okay, guys, I end the video right there. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, Make sure you follow me. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Leave a like on the video, obviously. Add me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. Add me on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. I make these videos every day. On the only time I didn't make no videos was yesterday. Because I was too busy watching. When I was watching, obviously. But anyways, there's going to be more videos coming today as well. Make sure you follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Facebook. Add me on Facebook. Add me on PSN. Add me on Microsoft. Yeah. Deuces.